In my project, I used Minecraft as a visual simulation to show why COVID-19 was a major turning point in history. I show the same city in 3 stages: before COVID, during the pandemic crash, and after the shift towards automation. Villagers represent the workers and communities, markets represent the economy, chests and bureaus represent goods, and supply routes show how goods moved before everything changed. So COVID-19 was not only a major turning point, but in this, I will argue that it was the most important turning point. The evidence I have to back this up is our economy was basically booming. We had so many resources going through and to us through other countries. And we got a pretty big stack of resources. With these resources, we boomed with our economy. We had a lot of people buying, selling, and getting resources that they need, as well as being able to hang out in social areas. With everybody hanging out at cafes, or coffee shops, or just in public, people were happy. We got a lot of money, which allowed for people to get things that they want and be able to go on trips, vacations, travel the world, and be around friends, family, and other people. With this economy, we relied on each other. Businesses relied on people for high supply, and the people relied on the high supply so then they didn't have to pay as much. It was a two-way trade, and things were looking pretty good for the USA, for basically the entire world. But then... the pandemic struck. People were no longer able to live normal lives. Schools, workplaces, public areas, all disrupted. The same city now felt quiet and separated. This showed how COVID could affect your life and how it did affect the life of millions of people. Our economy was also affected by borders being closed, supply routes being shut down, and people no longer be able to get resources. It was just like in the Great Depression, where unemployment was at its highest and people couldn't get anything. Because of how severe this pandemic was, shops were closed. We got a massive shortage in all supplies. We also got a lockdown. This lockdown caused for places like coffee shops and cafes to as well be shut down, and allowed for restrictions on a bunch of other buildings. We were in a lockdown. Nobody wanted to go out, but the few that did have to go out had to also distance themselves from other people. So what was there for us to do? We were locked down. Nobody was getting any resources. Things were broken. But... let's go! The economy was being rebuilt. With the shutdown and people being locked inside, what is there to do? Well, engineers started to build technology. Automation started to go through. People started to evolve AI. This is when AI was at its highest growth. Not just AI, but other technologies were also advancing. This is just like in World War I, except instead of a battle, it was production. We now had AI doing jobs for us, workforces being able to use AI in order to operate shops, sell products, and in order to buy products as well, because AI also consumed a lot of resources. These are a few reasons why COVID-19 is the most important turning point in history. Not only did it affect us then, but it is still affecting us now. We still have to distance in some scenarios and still have to wear masks. But it also changed our world for the better. We got new types of medicine and new ways to counteract new diseases. It affected workers, businesses, supply chains, and communities around the world. We have technology that has advanced so far that even before this, we would never imagine to have it today. But COVID-19 led for this advancement. It affected economies, society, technology, everything that was the combination of World War I and the Great Depression. Although it was not to the same effect as these two turning points, it still takes the concept of them and puts it in its own way and combines them into this one singular event. To recap, COVID-19 was not just a temporary crisis. It changed how the world worked, how people lived, and how economies survived. In this micro-simulation, the city begins as normal, falls into a lockdown and economic shock, then rebuilds through automation and technology. The Great Depression shows the damage of economic collapse, while World War I shows how the society could be forced to restructure labor and productivization. COVID-19 combines both of those in a modern way, while also accelerating online work, supply chains, and AI. Because of that, COVID-19 can be seen as the most important turning point in modern history. Thank you, and have a great day.